What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first Dope Black Movies review. I'm Victor Stiff, a writer and film critic who watches hundreds of movies a year, and my goal for this channel is to help you discover your next favorite movie. Today I'll be talking about one of 2020's most powerful films, HBO's adaptation of Ta-Nehisi Coates' award-winning novel, Between the World and Me. Before we get into the film, I'm going to give you a bit of background on Coates, his book, and his role as one of America's most prominent black voices. Ta-Nehisi Coates is an American journalist and author, and his 2015 nonfiction book, Between the World and Me, is a #1 New York Times bestseller. Coates has been writing professionally for 2 decades, but developed a massive following as a national correspondent at The Atlantic, where he penned hard-hitting features about systemic racism and white supremacy in the United States. He was a finalist for the 2016 Pulitzer Prize for General Nonfiction and won the 2015 National Book Award for Nonfiction. He's also a MacArthur Genius Award winner. Vanity Fair referred to Coates as our most vital public intellectual, and the New York Times called him among the most influential intellectuals in the United States. He's not just a prominent voice in America's most necessary conversation, he's the voice. Coates published Between the World and Me in 2015 in an attempt to grapple with the death of his friend and Howard University classmate, Prince Jones. Jones was killed on September 1st, 2000, when a police officer fired 16 rounds into his vehicle. The book takes the form of a letter from Coates to his teenage son. The author ruminates on the experience of being black in America and gives examples that prove that the United States has never lived up to its loftiest ideal, that all men are created equal. Between the World and Me interrogates what it means to be black in America. It forces the audience to consider what it actually means to inhabit a black body and find a way to live within it. Given this difficult subject, no one expects Between the World and Me to tell a feel-good story. Coates' perspective as a black father is justifiably bleak. He writes, "Black people love their children with a kind of obsession. You are all we have, and you come to us endangered." A lesser movie would descend into grief porn, but the black experience is so much more than that. This best-selling work of art resonates with millions of readers because it also has the power to uplift. This push and pull between hope and heartbreak has drawn comparisons to the legendary author and activist James Baldwin, and Between the World and Me even borrows the framing device from Baldwin's 1963 novel, The Fire Next Time. Coates Howard University alum Kamilah Forbes directed the movie, and there wasn't another filmmaker as well equipped to bring this book to life. Forbes is the executive producer for Harlem's world-famous Apollo Theater. Some of her many directing and producing credits include iconic black productions like Def Poetry Jam and The Wiz Live. Forbes also directed Between the World and Me's theatrical adaptation, which ran in the Apollo. Forbes didn't turn the book into a documentary or even a narrative feature. This is its own distinct thing. The film follows the book's structure. Actors read the words Coates wrote to his son, but this adaptation includes the type of grace notes and artistic flourishes that come from working within a visual medium. Forbes uses archival footage, old photos, live performances, animated sequences, and a series of monologues to bring Coates' work to life. Forbes stays true to the spirit of the book while giving her adaptation a unique flavor. The film's most powerful moments happen whenever a cast member delivers a monologue right to the camera. And it's here where the film expands beyond the scope of the book. When you read a book, a conversation unfolds in your head. You can't get more personal than that. But something magical happens when a talented actor stares straight into the camera and pours out their soul. You watch the cast's hearts burst open as their pain and frustration bleeds out onto your screen. Any viewer with a shred of empathy will soak these feelings up like a sponge. These moments transcend storytelling artifice as you connect with the actors on the most visceral level. And oh, what a cast of actors. The film stars Mahershala Ali, Angela Bassett, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Angela Davis, Jharrel Jerome, Susan Kelechi Watson, Felicia Rashad, Joe Morton, Yara Shahidi, Tariq Blackthought Trotter, Janet Mock, Courtney B. Vance, and the goddess Oprah Winfrey. And that's leaving out quite a few people. It's this chorus of voices that really separate the book and the movie. When Coates shared his lived experience with his adolescent son, the words were only one man's point of view. Having this massive cast repeat Coates' words forces you to recognize how universal this situation is. African American fathers and sons have had this very discussion for generations, and likely will continue doing so for generations to come. As the cast recite their lines, you begin to recognize that the actors aren't standing in for Coates. They're repeating his words, sure, but they're bearing their own souls. The cast take the book's seminal words, "Dear son, I'm telling you this in your 15th year," but change who they're addressing. They're speaking to their own loved ones, daughters, brothers, sisters, nieces, and nephews. It's a small change that shifts the film's message off its axis and helps us experience this message in a new context. Between the World and Me evolves from a solo act to a grand symphony. Here's the sad reality. You could release Between the World and Me in any decade and it would still feel timely. But given what we've experienced in 2020, the police misconduct, the protests, and the attacks on black bodies, this film couldn't arrive at a better time. Between the World and Me is a meditation on blackness. It calls out the boundless indignities heaped upon black Americans. But even though the African American experience is tied to suffering, this movie refuses to revel in black pain. It features moments of hope, strength, and dignity worthy of a Wakandan king. Though far from optimistic, Between the World and Me has the power to revitalize all the weary souls beaten down by what Coates calls the beautiful struggle. This candid and heavy-hearted cautionary tale is also a powerful affirmation, speaking to how intolerance and oppression forged an indomitable black spirit. They made us into a race, Coates famously writes. We made ourselves into a people. Thanks so much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future updates. We've got a Sundance 2021 video coming real soon. And please keep supporting Black cinema. If you're in the US, you can watch Between the World and Me on HBO Max. And if you live in Canada, you can catch this excellent film on Crave. Thank you so much for watching the very first Dope Black movie review. One love.